Picton County Connections. I'm Pat Bingham. I'm Community Relations Coordinator for Picton County Government. January is Radon Awareness Month, and our show today might alarm you just a little about how prevalent radon is in homes across Colorado and right here in Picton County. My guests today are the City of Aspen Senior Environmental Health Specialist, Jannette Whitcomb. Welcome. We've got Dr. Kimberly Levin, who practices emergency medicine here in the Valley and is our Picton County Board of Health Medical Officer. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Kurt Dahl, who is Picton County's Environmental Health Manager.
Thank you.
Let's start off, Jannette, with explaining what radon is and where it comes from.
Right. Well, I think to start off with, radon is a odorless, colorless, naturally occurring gas that comes from the decay of uranium. It comes from the soil, and it's coming up from the soil everywhere. The problem is that it gets trapped in the home. But to stop there, radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. That's why we're here today, and that's why we want, why it's January's Radon Awareness Month, and why it's important. So coming from the soil and how it gets into the home is, as a gas, it's working its way up to get out of the soil. And when you have a home and you have a foundation, it has cracks, it has a crawl space, that's a dirt foundation. It's all about coming in from the home because, especially in the wintertime, you've got cold air outside, warm air inside, there's pressure. And the home is basically like a vacuum, and it's just sucking all the soil gas, anything that's in a gaseous form under the home, it's just sucking into the home. And then it gets trapped in the home, especially with weatherization. And so radon can accumulate in the home. And that's, you know, in a simple version, there's different pathways, but that's just kind of, think of your home as a suction, and it's just calling that radon to come into your home. And really, the only way to know how much you have in your home is to test, because your neighbor could have high levels and you could have low levels. It's very random. And so that's why we're here today, to tell people about what the importance it is and how to test and fix the problem.
And it's prevalent, Kurt, in Colorado because, is it because of the mountains? Is our mountainous climate, is it to have to do with the climate, or does it have to do with the Rocky Mountains?
It has to do with the geology of Colorado, and Colorado is considered the highest risk by the EPA. About 50% of the homes in the state of Colorado test higher than the recommended action level, which is 4 picocuries.
Did you just say the highest in the country, Colorado? It's
one of the highest.
Highest.
We're considered zone 1 with a few other states. Our risks are higher than other places around the country. So, and in Picton County, from the testing that we've done since I think about 2005 through 2017, 47% of, a little more than 47% of our homes have tested above the 4 picocurie action level. So we're about the state average. So. And then for the average of the tests themselves, we're testing just under 8 picocuries, or about double what the state recommended action level is.
Well, I know when we redid the library a couple of years ago, we found radon in one particular office where it had built up terribly in one particular office in the lower level of the library. So we had it even in one of our own county buildings. Kim, tell us, Dr. Levin, excuse me, how much of a threat to our health would radon be if we had it in our home?
Well, radon, as we have mentioned, has been linked to lung cancer, and there's been a lot of studies. The studies have mostly been done with miners and then generalized to the general population, and being a mining town as well, it's something to think about here. But and so these studies have shown a link between radon and lung cancer. And so we look at the numbers and how much of lung cancer is attributed to radon. It looks like radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. However, tobacco smoke, being the first risk factor and leading cause of lung cancer, is attributable to about 85–90% of lung cancer is from tobacco smoke. So we're looking at a really small percentage. However, it's definite, and it's definitely linked to it. And it's an interesting thing because it's something that we can prevent. and we can test and prevent. Some other numbers, the EPA estimates that 21,000 lung cancer deaths are attributed to radon each year. So it's significant in terms of numbers. And again, the risk, the level is 4, which is where the EPA at least has set that level as a maximum to go for.
Now, smoking and radon would be the worst case scenario, right?
So the other very interesting information is that 85% of radon-induced lung cancers, so lung cancers that they say, okay, this is linked to radon, in 85% of those cases, people smoked. And so there's these dual risk factors, and how do you tease them out completely? I think basically, if you smoke, your risk for lung cancer in general is much, much higher. And if you smoke and have radon, it's even higher than just radon alone. So the two together. So the biggest thing that anyone can do is stop smoking in terms of preventing lung cancer. But looking at radon itself, it's a preventable cause of lung cancer.
Now, if one were to get lung cancer, is it easy to tell what kind of lung cancer you have, how it was caused, or is that not necessarily something that is done commonly or possible?
Yeah, when you get diagnosed with lung cancer, there's different types. There's different stages that you get staged in terms of, is it just limited to a part of the lung itself? Has it become invasive into the lymph nodes? Has it become metastatic? And so in terms of treating it, it's really, a lot of it's based on stages and what the modality is going to be. Now, there's pathology that's done, and it's really, lung cancer is divided into non-small cell and small cell. Non-small cell is about 85% of all lung cancers. If you have a lung cancer that came from radon, you can't necessarily see it in the pathology. You can't look at it and say, oh, this is a lung cancer that came from radon. It's more of the studies that have linked it and have it as a risk factor for lung cancer. So it's all going to be treated the same, whether it's the etiology is from radon or from tobacco smoke or genetic. And then there's others, asbestos we know, and arsenic, and there's a couple of other little small links to lung cancer, but radon is the second leading cause and tobacco is the first.
And so, I've known people who've gotten lung cancer say, I've never smoked a day in my life, never had a cigarette. And so you can't just jump to conclusions and say, well, you must have radon in your house at some point in your life. I mean, that would be silly and jumping to a conclusion. But it being the second leading cause of lung cancer would make somebody like me say, well, if it wasn't smoking, then it must have been radon.
You would certainly think about it. Did I have radon in my home, in a home that wasn't tested? Or,
makes you wonder.
Yeah, and again, there are other causes, and these are all a very small percentage of lung cancers because tobacco smoke is the number one. But what are the other causes? And genetics, again, is a strong one.
So, Jannette, how difficult is it to find out if you have it in your home?
It's not difficult at all, because one of the great things in Colorado, because we're such a high-risk state, we have a very robust grant program, and so most health departments throughout the state, and we have 2 health departments in Pickens County and the city of Aspen, both have the availability to give out free test kits. So it's a simple test, and for most people right now in the state of Colorado, you can get a free test kit at your local health department and do that.
What is in that envelope? Show us what that is.
This is such a cool...
Looks like something I got from my, gastroenterologist for some completely other purpose.
Well, it's not so invasive. It's really simple. This test kit... what you can get here is basically inside, you can't, the people watching us can't see, but there's a charcoal packet that collects the radon decay particles. It's a mailer. It's so simple. And so basically, when you get it and you open it up, you just prop it open.
Hold it up a little bit.
Okay.
Up this way.
Yeah, so this little tool is just to prop it open. Radon is a gas. It's tiny. It's microscopic. So you think, oh, this is pretty tight, but no, it can get through little tiny cracks. It wants to be in here. And then after 3 days, you take this, you pull the sticker off, you seal it up, you fill everything out in the back. You take this little hanger off, you put it in the mail. And I'm happy to go over if we have time, but we at the health departments can go over more details about how to properly put this in your home. But it's simple. It's that simple. It's a mailer. It's 3 days.
Where do you put it?
Yeah, so winter's the best time to test because you want to have closed house conditions. What I like to tell people when they come in to get a test kit is you're going to be a little scientist in your home. Do it with your kid if you want. It's actually a scientific test. And you're going to want to put it in your lowest living area because radon is a heavy gas. So the most likely place to have the highest amount of radon in the home is your lowest living area. That could be a basement, that could be your first floor, if you're slab on grade or you have a crawl space. And if you have a bedroom that you use on the lowest living area, put it in the bedroom because that's where you're spending the most time. But you put it at your lowest living area on an interior wall. I just tell people to take a picture off the wall of an interior wall, not a window, a wall that has a window. And with the hanger, you have one right here, once it's open, you just hang it.
Oh, that's what that was for. I thought
Yeah.
that was just the...
Yeah, you just hang it on a picture nail. That's about breathing height. You want it to be at breathing height. It's just, we try to make it simple.
So, what has anyone here actually done a radon test in their home? I know I've had one of these sitting on my butcher block, not opened for weeks, thinking, oh, I got a free test kit, I'm going to do it, and I haven't done it. Has anyone here done it?
I've done it.
You've done it?
Yeah. So I did it. I actually bought a place, a half duplex, a year ago, and that was one of the first things that I did when going into it. So testing for radon, again, it's so easy. It's really simple. You hang it up for 3 days. If you're going away for a weekend or something, you note the time on the back, and then you just pop it in the mail, and it gets processed.
So you did it, and what happened?
Mine was high.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, mine was at 19, and so I got a mitigation service to come in, and it's a pretty standard thing, and it's very, apart from the cost, it's very easy to do. And it's, I was really surprised actually. My understanding is that radon gas is heavy, so it definitely kind of accumulates underneath the house and on the bottom floors. And so it's just a very mechanical process where they have a fan that blows the gas up into a pipe that goes up above your house and releases it. And that's it. So
But
it's
do
a
they have
super
to
simple
drill
thing.
holes in your house and put...
It's
I
all
mean,
on the side of the house.
It's on the
So, and there's
side of
different
the
types
house.
of constructions too. So mine is a concrete slab, and so they just kind of put it right next to the house, and then the pipe runs up the side of it, and there's a fan that is continuously going, but it's very, very, it's
So-
quiet. Yeah,
So the fan is continuously going. It's something you have to keep going.
it is.
Because
yeah.
radon's coming into that home
Yeah.
all the time.
Kurt, are there any programs to help people? Like, it is a little. What would be some of the biggest excuses not to test? First of all, why don't more people test for radon, and then why don't more people mitigate for it? What are some of the things you come?
So
up
it's a colorless, odorless gas. So I think there's not a great understanding of risk for a lot of people. I think that, again, the risk is over a long-term period, not short-term. Like, if we have a fire with smoke and carbon monoxide, we're getting people to the house immediately. When we have high levels of radon, we want people to mitigate and put a mitigation system in, but it's not you need to leave the house immediately. So I think there's a perception about the risk, and it's something important, but I think a lot of people don't realize the higher risk with having high levels of radon in the house. So
And then it must be, like in my case, it's, oh my gosh, I've got to have a whole crew of people come in,
Right.
drill holes and knock walls down and do things, and that's unrealistic.
right, I think people get intimidated with the idea of a mitigation system and what that means and what the cost is going to be to have somebody come in and, like in Kim's case with the foundation, they come in and they seal in, or
Yeah,
the slab on grade. They come in and seal any of the cracks in the slab. They seal in the foundation walls, cut a hole in the slab, and then, as Kim said, put a 4-inch pipe out the side of the house and then a fan. And then if you have a crawl space, they come in with basically a plastic layer, seal around all of the edges, and then around any of the beams, support beams. And again, it's a fan to pull that radon gas and all the gases that would be coming up through the ground out the side of the house and then all the way up.
It sounds like somebody who's handy with construction could probably do this themselves. I bet there are places online where you could learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah, one of the things that we've done early on in our program at the City of Aspen with our grant is we worked with a company out of Colorado Springs to tape about how to do it yourself. There should be a do-it-yourself book in every library on radon. So we have a lot of contractors in this valley, and so it made sense. If you feel comfortable doing the hole, digging out this, you can do it. But if you're not comfortable with that, we really encourage you to hire a certified radon mitigation company, because they are putting holes into your house. They could do roof penetrations. And you want that guarantee. And so something that you can find at our website is a list of local certified radon mitigation contractors. And I think it's also important to know is that this increases the value of your home. Finding radon, why people don't want to test is they don't want to know. It's scary, the idea of radon and lung cancer. But it's going to come up at a real estate transaction. It came up for Dr. Levin, right? Yeah. And it's a negotiation that can happen at a sale of a home. So if you already have mitigated, what we as public health officials want you to do is test your home. If it's high, mitigate it and enjoy the fresh air and the value of that before you find out at a sale of a home. It's nothing that breaks my heart more than working with a customer that has high radon, they've lived in their home for 30 years, and then they find out. We'd like to get that sooner, and that's why we're here today.
Are there any programs available statewide to help people mitigate who might not have the means to do it?
Yes. One of the things that started last year that I think was great is the state health department started a program for assistance in financing the cost of a mitigation system. The thing that I thought was really great is they're using a sliding scale based off of income. So there are folks within Pitkin County that can qualify. As an example, with my income in Eagle County, I would qualify for a mitigation system if I wanted to put one in. And that's one of the first times I've seen the state health department use a sliding scale for a program like this. So it really is a benefit. We really probably have folks that can qualify for that help. And I've talked with Chris Kelly, who's our coordinator at the state health department, about having that assistance program come out here if we have people that qualify, and she's been more than willing to look at, because our costs are probably going to be higher for the installation of a mitigation system, and she already recognizes that. So she's more than willing to work with the homeowner in that process of getting that installed.
That's great. And then this is a part of the program, toward the end of the program, where we throw out for more information, who to call, how to call. You've already mentioned that you could go to the library and probably find out everything you ever need to know about mitigating for radon, but somebody like me is going to want to talk to somebody like you or you. I'm just going to want to make a phone call and say, hey, what did you say again, and what do I do? So let's start with Jannette. For more information or to get a free kit.
For Aspen residents within the city limits, you have a local health department. We're located at 590 North Mill. It's a new location. It's second floor of the powerhouse above ACRA. Our number is 970-920-5039. You could go to cityofaspen.com and find out. But for Aspen residents, walk down to the powerhouse and
now the
get a
powerhouse,
test kit.
everybody know where the powerhouse is? It's under the bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Powerhouse too. Okay, so where the art museum used to be. Okay, Kurt, where can people get free radon test kits, these kind that we just showed them?
So they can get them at our office. Pitkin County residents and City of Aspen residents both can get them at our office, which is in the new Pitkin County Administration and Sheriff's Office building that we just built. We're on the second floor with community development. And the front desk, Morgan at the front desk has the kits available, and we just have a kiosk to fill in your information for either the city or the county. And that includes the town of Snowmass Village and Basalt residents.
Great.
And then our contact number is 970-920-5070. And that's our general number, and that'll then you can be directed to my department or my office or Brian Dougherty.
And Kim, do you want to say one more thing about
quick,
smoking?
Yeah, a quick public health pitch here. And that, I mean, radon is so interesting because how do you motivate yourself to mitigate radon in your home? At least test and mitigate. It's such a kind of specific, very discrete thing that we can all do to decrease our risk of lung cancer. And it's not a behavior that we're doing. It's not, it's not something you can see. It's just so interesting that we can actually decrease our risk. And the lung cancer is not going to potentially develop for years. So it's really hard to motivate yourself to do this, but I really urge everybody to do it. It's a really important, very specific thing that we can all do to protect ourselves. And again, lung cancer, because this is what we're talking about, is 90% is from smoking. And 85% of all radon-induced lung cancers are in smokers. So the number one thing that you can do is to stop smoking. Secondhand smoke as well is a huge risk factor, and I just want to mention that as well. And with all the very high increased rate of vaping recently, especially in this valley, we don't know what the studies are in terms of what are the links with that and lung cancer. To be determined, but something to really be careful for. Nicotine is one of the most highly addictive drugs. I mean, it's more addictive than heroin, cocaine.
It is?
Yes, it is. It has such a it has a very fast onset and then a very fast off. So drugs like that are quick on and quick off, you want more very quickly. So the addictive potential of it is huge. And people don't understand. That's why it's so hard to stop smoking. So hard because your body's
I see another
addicted.
whole program on vaping and
Anyway,
nicotine.
but radon itself is a very specific way that we can all protect ourselves. It's real. It's here. You can't see it or smell it, but please get your home tested. Protect yourself.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank you, audience. Don't forget to pick up your free test kit and do it. And then if you have any issues about getting the mitigation done, just give one of these guys a call. We'll figure it out.
Awesome.
So thank you very much.
Thank
See
you.
you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks.